back, my little nightmares. It's me, Queen Nightmare. And you may be wondering, why are you posting another video today? Well, I actually am a day behind on videos, and I'm just posting 2 today so that I'm on top. So, I know it looks weird, but I wanted to keep on track, and I want to entertain you guys, and I also woke up late. Literally, I fell asleep at 11 o'clock while I was uploading a video. I didn't put it on public yet because I was trying to get all the kinks out of it. And then all of a sudden, I fell asleep at 11, and I woke up at 11:55, and I missed my check-in time, and I was like, how did I sleep for 12 hours? That made me pissed off at myself. So, so that's how my day's going. But I did contact the person, and I was like, I got busy, sleeping. But I didn't tell her what I was busy with. So, we're doing a Snarry Fanfiction, finally. If you hear anyone talking in the background, I have to mute them before that happens. But I'm in class early, so that's gonna be happening. But I want to hear what you think will happen next with the Snarry Fanfiction. Because I would like to see you predict the future. Because I'm waiting for them to get together, but my wishes might not come true. So, Unforgivable Promises. And it's probably chapter 7, if I'm correct. Okay, so it is. Okay. Chapter 7. Snape's hand sped past Harry's ear and slammed the door shut. Okay, someone else was texting me on Wattpad. They're also a YouTuber, and I don't know if they're a fan of mine, but they're pretty cool. Snape's hand sped past Harry's ear and slammed the door shut, just as Harry had managed to pull it open. Harry kept his face to the door. He could feel the instructor's presence just inches from him, and he had no idea what the man was planning. The plan had seemed like a good one at the time. No way to get one over on the potions master and maybe get Harry's point across at the same time. He had not expected an apology, but he had not expected the kind of fury he could sense flowing from Snape. "We are not done yet, Mr. Potter." The man's voice was cold, deadly. Not detention or for a term deadly, but Death Eater deadly. Harry had pushed him too far this time. A line had been crossed. "How dare you!" As quickly as it had come upon him, Harry's terror was swept away, replaced with his own fury. He turned around. "How dare I? What? How dare I ask you to treat me like a human being?" Snape's face was as cold as ever. Harry pressed on. "How dare I point out you're wrong about something? When all I ever wanted to do is insult. When all you ever want to do is insult me for the smallest mistake. Your little game is over, Potter. Do not try to make a fool of me again." Snape pulled his wand from his robe when they definitely had crossed a line, and Harry was not going to back down. Oh, crap. Apologize. Just apologize. They definitely had crossed a line, and Harry was not going to back down. Not when Snape was threatening him like that. "Get over yourself," Harry said, with as much disgust as he could muster. Somewhere in the back corner of his mind, there was a part of him that was not yet ready to collapse. That was the part that noted the utter shock that pressed for the briefest moment through Snape's eyes. This is your last warning, boy. This is yours. Harry's tone dropped suddenly as the adrenaline seeped from his vines. What is wrong with my accents today? He was calm again, as calm as Snape. He pulled his hair back from his forehead. I got this because of what my parents did. Voldemort hates me for that. And we both know how you will never hate anyone as much as Voldemort hates me. Harry took a step forward. You want to hate me for what my father did to you. Get in line. Harry spun around and headed back to the door. He pulled his wand with an economical twitch of his hand. The door swung open. Harry kept his swift pace until he was back in his room. His friends, of course, had gathered to hear the results. He collapsed on the bed, suddenly exhausted amidst his friends' questions. He rolled over on his back. That did not go well. Come on, Harry, Ron said. What happened? Harry stared at the ceiling. I don't know. He got mad, really mad. Then I got mad. Things were bad before. They're worse now. Sorry, Harry. Ginny was frowning. It was my idea. It's not your fault, Ginny. Did it work, though? Hermione asked. Harry looked at her like she'd turned into a flobberworm. I mean, did he admit that you're not the egomaniac he keeps saying you are? During the lessons? Yeah. After it? Harry shrugged. Harry filled his friends in on how the lesson had gone. He even decided to try to make peace with Hermione by giving up a little of Snape's secret. The memory I saw was of Snape and my father when they were in Hogwarts together. That's why he doesn't like me. Because of your dad? Ron asked. Yeah. He and my dad weren't quite getting along. What exactly did your father do? Hermione asked, never quite content without a full story. I'm not sure. I'm not going to tell you that, Harry said. Hermione shook her head and rolled her eyes. Harry expected as much and ignored it. So anyway, he got mad and I told him if he was going to hate me for what my father did to him, he'd have to wait for Voldemort to finish with me first. Ron was looking at him like he'd just hired on as a seeker for the Chudley cannons. Wow, Harry, Neville said. Hey, if you get the pensive, can you show us the look on his face when you said that? I'm just so sick of suffering for what my parents did, Harry said. Harry! Uh-oh. He's so screwed! Remus had apparently come in silently. What a thing to say! Harry grew pale. No, I didn't mean... Not Voldemort or anything. Remus's features softened a little. It's just Snape. Harry sighed. What happened? Harry retold the story again, and Remus growled and opened the door. Come with me, Harry. This has gone long enough. Harry followed his father's friend to the library. As they approached the door, Harry's steps slowed. I really don't think Remus opened the door and entered, leaving Harry in the hall. So much for getting out of this. Harry cautiously slipped into the room and closed the door. Snape was sitting at the customary chair, legs crossed. Uh-oh. Now we're screwed. He's probably like the medieval boss, whatever. Harry cautiously slipped into the room and closed the door. Snape was sitting in his customary chair, legs crossed. I was wondering how long you'd take to run to Lupin. Firstly, Harry didn't come running to me. I asked him what happened, but I have more important things to talk about. Remus waited for Snape to say something, but the man stayed silent. Look, Severus, what happened between us was ages ago. I don't expect you to ever call me a friend, and I can even understand holding a grudge against Sirius for trying to send you to the shack that night. But if you can treat me no more uncivilly than the rest of the world, what can't you let go of how James treated you too? He was not worse than I was. Harry was not thrilled at Remus's implication that Sirius deserved to be hated, but he held his tongue. Remus had not tried to get Snape killed, and his father had even stopped it from happening. It was Sirius, after all, who wanted to see the prank through. Don't be stupid. Of course he was worse. Harry bit his lip and shoved his hands into his pockets to keep from reaching for his wand. Remus asked, how? And hell, Sirius, we were always together. Severus, fuck. How? Hell, Severus, we were always together. Couldn't be any less to blame. I couldn't be any less to blame for. Remus trailed off. Snape's cold glare was fixed on Remus, and he raised an eyebrow. Expectantly, as the werewolf trailed off. 7th year. It was James who told everyone. As if you didn't know. Always together, after all. Remus shook his head. No, he never said anything. He looked up and met Snape's eyes. Lily. He probably told her first. She wouldn't have let him tell us, Merlin. Harry, would you please wait outside? Oh, shit. There's another secret. I don't think I want to know this one, because it's like, you can't even know about it. Okay. Harry left quietly, but kept the door slightly open. A part of him wanted to hear this, and a part of him desperately wanted to run away. Same. I relate to Harry too much from this story. He had been a lot more comfortable thinking of his father before he started discovering Snape's past. From the doorway, Remus's words drifted to Harry. Severus, I never really apologized of that doing 7th year, and saying I'm sorry now seems hypocritical. I have no excuse for what I did. A werewolf saying the thing I said, I don't deserve your forgiveness. At least the way I treated you is because there's a chance I'll hurt someone. You never killed anyone because didn't I? Merlin. Harry heard the sounds of someone settling heavy in a chair. Oh, please, Lupin. The last thing I need or want is your pity. A sigh. Okay, Severus, I'll drop it. But still, Harry isn't James. Harry never did anything to you. Can't you at least see that? Silence. Then, what about Lily? She stood up for you. Harry may look like his father, but he's as much as Lily's child as James is. He needs these lessons. Severus, there's more than just his sanity at stake here. I can't teach him as well as you can. Even Albus can't. I'm kind of irked at Elvis right now. I don't even want to see him in any of my stories except the ferret one where he can die for all I care. Okay, if you don't know, just go watch it. I never said I wouldn't teach the boy. Was it Harry's imagination, or was Snape's voice a little less harsh when he said that? You may as well come back in, Potter. Damn it! I can't sneak anywhere. I can't sneak at all because of my breathing. When something intense is happening, I hyperventilate, so I can't sneak for shit. Let's go on, shall we? Oh no. Shit. I wanted it to get sexual with Harry, but maybe it won't. That's such an upsetting thing. Okay. Harry hesitated, wondering if it was better to pretend he didn't hear and hadn't been eavesdropping. Then again, when had he ever known Snape to be fooled by such tactics? Harry returned to find Remus looking distraught and Snape as calm as ever. Sir? Snape pointed at a bookshelf. There is a book of advanced occlumency on that shelf. I want 2 feet on... What? I want 2 feet on the first 5... 2 feet? What is 2 feet? I never heard of that. Is that a saying? I don't know. Because a lot of people have, pointed it out, there's, different ways of saying words, and I'm learning. I like that. I'm doing my 2 favorite things. Reading to you guys and learning, so. On the first 5 chapters for tomorrow, Harry found the book and desperately wanted to leave. But he was unsure if he should apologize. Just bow. Just keep on bowing like people from Japan when they're saying they're sorry. Just bow, 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 and then just bow until you're out of the room. That's what I would do. But he was unsure if he should apologize for what had happened. Harry, he was not even sure if he would be apologizing for what he had done or his father. Snape solved his problem for him. You may go. Both of you. And Lupin, please tell Albus he may retrieve his pensive at his leisure. We will no longer be using them. It is my time, Mr. Potter. Move past such crutches. Oh, shit. Oh, it didn't help him any. It's just going to make it harder for him. Well, a challenge could help him a little bit. We will no longer... Harry was not sure what that would mean for the future lessons, but was certain it would be a bad idea to point out that to Snape. Not Harry had originally insisted on the pensive. Harry was disappointed, though. He had started enjoying his lessons until today, even if the aftermath was hard to handle. He could not see enjoying any lessons with Snape without the aid of the magical artifacts. Torn between asking Remus about what he and Snape had talked about and leaving well enough alone, Harry was sure Remus would not share, so he let it go. When he got back to his room, his friends were still there waiting for him. Harry told them what had happened, forbidding Hermione from digging further. Harry spent the rest of the day hiding in the book Snape had assigned him. He was trying very hard not to think too much about what Remus and Snape had talked about. The minute he had seen his father taunting Snape in the pensive last year, he wished he had never looked into the silver dish. Whatever this new thing was, it must have been worse than what he had witnessed. The next morning, Harry was both worried and relieved when Snape informed him they would not be doing any practice work on occlumency. Worried because he knew he needed to become a master at that skill. Relieved because he was far too tense in the potion master's presence to control his emotions. Instead, Snape read over his essay as Harry read the next few chapters of his book. The book was useful, at least, and Harry had even run out to fetch some parchment and quill to take notes. The first 10 minutes were silent, but for the rustling of pages and the scrape of the quill. Miss Granger helped you with this, Snape said. Harry rubbed at the ink he had splattered and tried to discern if that had been a question or occlusion. No, sir. Hermione just hasn't studied occlumency. Snape grunted and went back to reading the essay. Harry turned to his note-taking. Several more minutes passed, and Snape rolled up Harry's essay and placed it on the table next to him. He took the 4 pages Harry had already filled with notes and looked them over. There is much more mentioned in that chapter than you wrote here. Yes, Professor, but a lot of it is stuff I've already been doing, or at least trying to do, during the practicals. I'm only writing down my new techniques and theories. It's good to see you taking this seriously. I always have, sir. Even yesterday? Snape dropped the papers on the table and returned to his chair. That little game of yours? I wasn't trying to make you look like a fool, Professor. Don't you get tired of everyone assuming something about you that's not true? What are you talking about? Snape's eyes. Everyone thinks you're a Death Eater. Well, I guess you are, technically, but only members of the Order and other Death Eaters know for sure. But most of the students of Hogwarts think you're Voldemort's biggest supporter. Doesn't it bother you that you can't tell them they're wrong? That wouldn't exactly be healthy for me, would it? Well, no, sir. I don't mean to say you should tell anyone anything, but I didn't think there was anything to lose by showing you that I'm not the person you think I am. There is always something to lose, Potter. Harry stared down at his notes for a moment. I don't really know how to answer that. Well, that's hardly a surprise, is it? Why am I even bothering trying to talk to him? No, sir, I don't suppose it would be. He took up his quill again and started on to the next page. Snape watched Harry go back to his book. The boy gave up too easily. Not that he had expected an argument, but Harry had never simply accepted a remark like that with such resignation. He leaned back in his chair and charmed the door locked. So tell me, Mr. Potter, who are you? Snape asked. Harry paused at his writing and looked up, but did not speak. There's no punchline, Mr. Potter. If I'm so mistaken regarding whom you are, then tell me, who are you? I'm just Harry, and that's all I want to be. I don't want to be the boy who lived. I don't want to be Voldemort's worst enemy, and I want to be able to walk down the street just once without some people whispering about me. You seem to be looking for trouble a lot for someone who wants to have a simple life. Harry took his glasses off and rubbed his eyes. He looked so tired lately. Snape recalled that yesterday Harry told him he was still having nightmares. The only time I go looking for it is when no one takes me seriously. I only tried to find the Philosopher's Stone when everyone kept telling me it was safe. I knew someone was trying to get to it. I was just wrong about who. Harry glanced at Snape at last. Snape knew Harry had suspected him and not a quarrel. When the Chamber of Secrets was open, all the teachers kept saying it didn't exist. The only people who believed it was open were the same people who thought I opened it. And I never wanted to be in the Triwizard Tournament. Harry put his glasses back on and stared out the window behind Snape. I guess I was looking for trouble when I went to the Department of Mysteries. But if wanting to save the closest thing to a real family I've ever had makes me an attention-grabbing ecomaniac, then I guess I am what you think I am. No, that just makes you a Gryffindor. Harry continued to stare out the window, then finally shook his head and said, I must be more tired than I'd realized. That almost sounded like a joke. That was a joke, and you are too tired. You could have asked me for a sleeping potion, or something to prevent dreams. Harry looked away. I didn't want to trouble you. Snape recalled his reaction last time Harry asked him for a potion. He had mocked Harry for feeling the injuries he had gotten trying to keep Snape's secret safe. Damn that boy. Why in the world does he allow himself to be treated that way? Snape turned this anger outward toward the young wizard. The boy was determined to be a doormat. How could Snape be blamed for insulting him? He was staring at Harry again, who shifted in his seat and shuffled through his notes to avoid his gaze. Are we going to be practicing again soon, Professor? There are a few things I read about that I'd like to try. He had expected the question eventually. He knew Harry would never improve without more practical experience, but he was no longer willing to use the pensive, the mental shift being forced on him. After each lesson was taking its toll, the alternative, though, was not much was not better. I'm gonna burp again. I'm in the right class, am I? A few meeting details. Attachments. Okay, whatever. He had a uh-oh. The mental shift being forced on him after each lesson was taking its toll. The alternative, though, Hi, Lily. Sorry. I'm in the middle of recording a video for my YouTube channel, so you might hear me, if you don't mind. Do you mind Drary or Snarry, anything of that? Harry Potter fan fiction.
I've never watched Harry Potter stuff, or read Harry Potter.
You cool with it? It's nothing too graphic or anything.
I'm probably just going to mute myself and watch TikTok.
Okay, cool beans.
That's what I do anyways.
Okay. Where was I? The mental shift being forced on him after each lesson was taking its toll. The alternative, though, was not much better. Snape had too many memories he had no desire to share, and there were things he'd seen, things he'd done, that would give Harry nightmares. No one should have to see them. The last thought caused a frown, and Harry looked worried. The boy already had nightmares, though, and the things he'd seen no living thing, through his connection to Voldemort, were far beyond anything Snape had done. If he really intended to protect the boy, it would have to be through strengthening Harry's ability to shield himself from the Dark Lord's mind, not his own. As for the other things his mind held, that could be dealt with now. Yes, you will practice. I meant what I said about the pensive, though. You've learned the basics free of personal distractions. You will not have the luxury when your skills are truly tested by the Dark Lord and his followers. Harry nodded. Before we do that, however, there are things we need to discuss. Snape paused again. Why was he delaying this? Who was he trying to protect? He should be shoving Harry's father's actions down his throat. That solved nothing. Though, and besides, he had been doing that to Harry for the past 5 years. In all honesty. Why did I say honestly? Whatever. As you pointed out yesterday, my feelings towards you are rather closely tied to my feelings about your father. You know some of what happened between us already. Until 7th year, at least Harry had enough sense to admit he was eavesdropping. That is correct. What you saw in the pensive was rather typical of what went on until 7th year. Snape kept talking, unsure if he would be able to start again if he stopped. Our 7th year, however, your father discovered that I am a homosexual. Oh, well, damn. Sad. So he picked on him for that? What an asshole. Oh, no. What?
Nazareth is here now. Nazareth.
Yeah.
Do we have no one else is? Why is it only 3 people here? Where is everybody else?
Yeah, where's everyone else in choir?
I do not know.
If we don't have choir today and I'm here, I'm gonna be pissed.
Why? What
Because-
could you do right now?
Because I have better things I could be doing with my time.
Yeah.
I liked your face when I was saying that he was being bullied because he was a homosexual. You were like, I'm gonna beat his ass. Ooh.
That's not good.
I can even tell who you are because of the name you have as
It's Nazareth.
Well,
Nazareth, hey. I was like, she called you Naz, and I was like, I don't know who that is. Okay.
Oh, wow, I'm insulted.
I'm ins- oh, hello.
Hi. We are supposed to be here.
Oh, everyone else is here now.
Hey guys, when's the play? Because I don't mind me.
Sorry about that. Okay. He went on to inform the school. I was never quite popular before that. But, as you can imagine, I became even less so afterwards. And your father and his friends proved that they were capable of torment far beyond what they had shown previously. Harry was no longer looking at him. It will likely show up at some point when you're working on your legitimacy skills. Are we going to be practicing today, sir? Snape could hear the tightness in Harry's throat. No, I believe we have covered quite enough today. We will continue tomorrow. Head down, Harry stood and nearly ran from the room. Snape had to remove the locking charm before the door let the boy hurt himself. His book and notes were still on the table. Snape replaced the quill in its well, dabbing up the ink that had spilled across the parchment. He heard the floorboards on the story above creak, followed by a dull thud. Snape growled and headed to the stairs. Snape found Harry in one of the attic rooms, sitting on the dusty trunk, and scrubbing at his eyes at the sound of someone approaching. You realize, Mr. Potter, that once someone discovers you up here, they will undoubtedly come to me, demanding to know what I did to you. So I thought perhaps I should find out for myself, so my answer is informed. I'm fine, the boy said. Snape crossed his arms. You didn't do anything. I know you had no patience for this kind of thing. You don't need to be up here, Professor. Be that as it may, I am here now, and you are clearly upset. I'll be fine. Just please leave me alone. If that is truly what you want, I will go. But first, a word. I do not know exactly what part of what I told you drove you up here. If you share your father's prejudice, I suggest you get over them quickly. I am no longer the boy I was back then. Don't worry, I don't share my father's prejudice. Harry's voice broke at the last word, and Snape suddenly understood. Potter, are you gay? The boy looked at him sharply. Snape could see the tears welling, sparkling emeralds. Sobs racked Harry's body as he hid his face in his hands. Hesitating a moment, Snape put a hand on the trembling shoulder. Damn Minerva for being away. She was better with this stuff than I was. Anyone would be better at it. He felt like he should say something, but had no idea what. Your father. My father tortured you because you were. You were? That's what turned you into a Death Eater, isn't it? Harry's voice was harsher than Snape had ever heard it. That's what you meant when you told Remus that you killed people because of what you are. I turned to a Death Eater for many reasons. Even I don't blame your father for doing it. Not entirely. But he hated you because of it. Snape barked out a low laugh. Your father hated me well before 7th year. And somehow he managed to hate you even more after he found out. James changed after graduation. He had such a narrow view in school. We all did. That's the nature of students later on. He would have hated me too. Harry's unspoken admission was not lost on Snape. That took my strength. My parents would have hated me. No! Snape scared himself at the force of his own words. It certainly startled Harry. I won't pretend to know how your father would have reacted, but I will not tolerate you speaking as of your mother. You heard what Lupin said. Yesterday she defended me. She would not have loved you any less for being so trivial. She did not see what you were as flawed or lesser. Sorry. I actually started crying for real. When Snape said he lost his strength, I started to shed tears. I don't know what got into me. I guess I related too much to it because I am pansexual. I guess this is my coming out video. Well, damn. I love someone based on their personality, not by their sex or gender or by their body type. Body type can make it, I guess, better if you're saying that. I don't know. Okay, I can say that with certainty that she would have been proud of you. And if your father were too thick-headed to be proud of you too, then he is undeserving of your consideration. Harry nearly disappeared into his robes. Several minutes passed. Snape was out of words. I'd like to be alone, if that's okay. Harry's voice was small and muffled, but his body was no longer shaking from the sobs. Snape stood. If you want to talk about anything at all, I will be in my room, Snape said. The words sounded awkward in his ears. I realize I made a similar offer recently, but you will note that this time I make the offer with the pensive empty. Oh. Oh, man. I'm so glad class started because Lily would see me crying. I'm sorry. Lily's a good friend of mine. We've been in the she's a grade lower than me, but we've been in like same classes. We've been in drama together. She's a really good friend, and I'm so happy that I have friends like her. She actually is very open, and when she heard, like, she was listening to everything I said about what happened, with Harry, and she looked like, are you kidding me? Like, she is very open. I don't know if she's pansexual herself, but she is dating a guy right now. But she's an amazing girl. Oh, it's nice to have friends like that. Shout out to Lily. I don't think she'll ever see this, but thank you, Lily, for everything you do. She's a junior, I'm a senior, so she's a great friend. Chapter 8. Left alone, Harry slid down off the trunk he was sitting on and leaned back against it. The attic was dusty but quiet. He doubted he'd be disturbed up here. The only person who knew his lessons were over the only person who knew his lessons were over for the morning was Snape, and he trusted that man would not come back looking for him. He tried to clear his mind and to calm down, but his thoughts refused to cooperate. He still was not entirely sure what had just gone on. I'm sorry, but my teacher's projecting what he wants on. It says Dr. Saletta, that's his name, is a master at using the copy machine. I don't know what these are. I think it's like to be doing diction. If a candle factory burns down, does everyone just stand around and sing happy birthday? That's funny. Okay, sorry. I never thought of that. Candle factory burning down. Do they just sing happy birthday instead? But if someone's in there, I don't think someone will sing happy birthday. Except a morbid person. He tried to clear his mind. He still was not entirely sure that what had just gone on. Everything happened so fast. Too fast. His father hated Snape because Snape was gay. His father would have hated him. He thought about the veil in the Department of Ministries. His father was probably somewhere back beyond that curtain, hating him right now. Harry sunk into his mind. He knew he was pitying himself, and he did not care. He deserved a little self-pity now and then. There was nothing at all about his life that would have ever be normal. Harry closed his eyes. I thought he crossed his eyes. I was like, ooh. And hugged his knees. He felt the tears coming down and fought them off. He could almost hear his father laughing at him. The grief was around him like a blanket, dampening everything else. He only felt the pain of his scar when it was strong enough to cause flashes of light across his vision. Harry tried to stand, but his head throbbed, and he fell to his knees. The soft thud his body made when it hit the floor was barely audible in the library, though no one was there to hear it. Snape stirred one cauldron and checked the progress of another he had brewing. As he thought turned to Harry, his feelings bounced from pity to concern to anger. He was not particularly comfortable with any of those emotions, so he concentrated on his potions. Such work forced him to concentrate, and he had long ago learned that his perfectionism in the laboratory could overcome any preoccupations with only two moderately difficult brews before him. Though he was not quite occupied enough, he grabbed a book of the healing potions and got to work on a sophisticated sleep potion. There was no doubt who he was making it for, but he chose not to dwell on that. A soft rapping on his door came just as he was removing the first cauldron from its heat, expecting Harry, but he opened the door with a quick spell. It was Hermione's voice that caused him to turn from his work. "Professor Snape?" Hermione peered into the dark room. "Is Harry here?" Flash of red hair betrayed the presence of at least one Weasley behind her. Though the potion master suspected both were in the hall, along with Longbottom, Merlin forbid one travel without the rest. "It's time for lunch." Snap scowled. "Mr. Potter is attending to some work I assigned him. I will fetch him. It will be dangerous for him not to be disturbed by someone who is with an unshielded mind. Miss Granger, come here." Snape explained what needed to be done with his potions in the next few minutes and returned to the attic. Good that it was Granger, not Longbottom. Longbottom messes up everything, but he's adorable when he does it too. So you can't really get mad at him. Except you're Professor Snape, so... I haven't seen him, say that he had a crush on anyone. And I think Dumbledore's gay, so I think that's why he's, a follower of Dumbledore, and he understands him that much. Or that's just me. Okay. Sorry, I had to get more comfortable. Who would attend to the cauldrons. Unlike the rest, she at least did passable work. With a soft rap on the door, Snape eased his way into the room, unsure of what he would find. The sight of Harry prawn mouth stretched open like he was screaming was the last thing he had expected. Harry's eyes were closed, he noted. They were clutched. They were clenched. Really, and subtle tremors in the boy's limbs revealed that his entire body was tensed. Feeling foolish, Snape pulled his robe to cover his face and scooped the boy up. At the contact, Harry began thrashing wildly and began to be held tightly against Snape's chest to prevent him from hurting himself. After kicking open the door to his bedroom, Snape issued orders to the students waiting there. "Granger, continue with the potions. Potter will need them shortly." He added the last to cut short objections. "Longbottom, see if the headmaster is in the house and send him here. Weasley, stand back." The damned Weasley boy was grabbing at Potter. Snape dropped Harry into the bed and tossed Ron behind him, away from the potions. A quick charm had Harry bound to the bed. His flailing had not subsided. Has it or has not? Oh my goodness. Has not subsided. Okay, I was like, okay. And his face was still twisted in a scream. Worried about Harry biting his tongue, Snape doused a bit of wadded cloth of a sedative potion and stuffed it into the boy's mouth. Dumbledore and Lupin crowded into the room, and Longbottom in tow. The men understood what was going on immediately, and both looked into Snape for direction. "I do not know what he's seeing, but I think I have an idea of what triggered it," Snape said no more and checked over Hermione's shoulder to see the potions she was tending. A cry from Ron brought his attention back to the bed. Harry's right arm trailed a frayed rope from the wrist as his hand crawled into a claw, struck at his face. Ron was the first to act, grabbing his friend's arm and laying across the boy to keep him still. Harry responded with a scream that sent a chill down the potion master's back. Ron's body jolted as Harry nearly threw him with a single free arm and off the bed. Snape had his wand drawn again and nodded at Lupin, who had thrown himself on top of Ron. In a single moment, Remus had Ron away from Harry's arm as new cords flew from both cords. Okay. Snape and Hermione's wands. Ron slumped against the wall, and Harry strained again because his bonds. Though the combination of exhaustion from his previous efforts and extra bonds, Snape was adding to his restraints, provided with some small movements. "Why do people keep throwing me?" Ron asked with a wince. "Merlin," Lupin said. "What?" Harry's eyes suddenly opened. Snape shrank back of his sight and watched the boy look around the room, frantic. After a few moments, reason returned to the boy's eyes, as he recognized his surroundings as well as Dumbledore and Lupin, who were at his side. No! Ugh. Sorry, I don't know if my mic's not right. That'd be freaking weird. "Harry," Dumbledore said softly. Draco has taken the mark. The raw words were barely a whisper, and Harry was clearly straining to get them out. That said, the boy went limp and slipped into unconsciousness. He experienced a marking? Snape turned to Hermione. "I will tend to those potions now." Harry woke in an unfamiliar bed. His body ached, and for a brief moment, he thought he'd fallen off his broom during a Quidditch match. Oof. A soft gurgle of a boiling cauldron caught his attention, and Harry realized he was in Snape's room. His bearings returned. The memories of the past day struck him like a physical blow. He closed his eyes with a soft moan. "Harry?" Like everything else about Neville, his voice betrayed his emotions, and Harry could hear the worry behind his words. "Are you awake?" Harry nodded. "How long have I been asleep?" "About half a day," Neville said. "It's a little after midnight now." Professor Snape said, "You were okay." I sound like he's a little kid. Well, he kind of does. He does have like a little kid voice until like 10th year? No, not 10th. 8th year, I think it was. I think they're only in their not 4th year. Are they in their 4th year? When was the Order of the Phoenix? I don't remember. It's a little after midnight. Professor Snape said, "We're okay, but you'll all be we've all been taking turns keeping an eye on you, just in case you had another vision or, Harry smiled. "Thanks, Neville." Neville shrugged uncomfortably. So, what caused the vision? Harry furrowed his brow. Professor Snape said you knew what brought the vision on. Harry's stomach lurched. He felt dizzy. What did he say? Harry hoped his voice seemed calmer than he felt. Nothing really, just that he knew what caused you to have the vision that time. I guess it was a bad one. I felt Draco get the mark. It was... Harry had no words to describe it. It was worse than anything before. Neville turned white. As one of the few people who knew the other things Harry had seen, he knew the other... he must have had a hard time imagining what could have been worse. Harry could imagine it, though, and he was terrified that the feeling would never leave him. Harry pushed those feelings far away from him. Neville had enough people in his life who had suffered at Voldemort's hands. I'll be okay, Neville. I'm going to go back to my room. You should go to sleep, too. Harry slowly stood from his bed. His legs were shaking, but his robes hid that from the other boy. It had not occurred to him to wonder where Snape was spending the night, and until he opened the door to his room. A single candle on the table illuminated large tome. I never heard of that. The potion master was reading. Harry caught himself on the doorframe as Snape looked up at him. Oh, sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were in here. Surely you do not need 2 rooms, Potter. Is one not enough? Should I go back to yours? There's no need. Snape closed his book. By all means, Potter. Please sit down. I think you have fallen quite enough for today. Relieved, Harry pushed away from the wall and stumbled to the bed. Harry left the door open when he left, and Harry saw the man stride across the hall, quickly returned with 2 bottles. For sleep and for the muscle ache you are no doubt feeling. Snape placed the bottles beside Harry's bed. You really must break yourself of this habit of martyrdom. Martyrdom. There you go. I was like, what the heck is this? I assure you, it is not becoming. Thank you for the potions, sir. And I didn't choose to have this vision. They seem to be happening when I'm... Snape nodded, and as Harry trailed off. No. You had little control over yours at the time. We will address that another day. I am speaking, though, about your instance to act like these visions do not affect you. I can assure you that Mr. Malfoy is not conscious yet, nor will he be for several days. Please tell me you didn't hear that. No, you probably did. That was my stomach. I had my phone on my stomach. That's so bad. I didn't eat today. I need to, but I didn't eat yet. And it's 1:42. Oops. I'm tired. Why am I tired? I just woke up 2 hours ago. An hour. Maybe almost 2 hours. Guess I'm just getting used to this. Snape frowned at Harry's attempt of self-deprecation. Perhaps you are. That, too, is something we will need to address. The man regarded Harry with his usual cold glare, and Harry wished the teacher would leave soon. Did you see anything that the Order needs to know about now? First you tell me I should be sleeping. Now you want information? Oh, man. Snape shrugged. You are awake through no action of mine. If you insist on being conscious, no less coherent than usual, I would be remiss not to ask the question. Harry really did not want to argue the point. Nothing new. No. He's mad at someone, but I don't know who. He said something about not accepting failure. I think he just finished torturing one of the Death Eaters before I connected to him. He's going to use Malfoy at Hogwarts next year, but anyone could have guessed that since he took the mark. Snape nodded, but did not comment. Oh no, this is before what's his face dies. What's his face? It's what's his face? Okay, sorry. Snape nodded, but did not comment. There was just a lot of him yelling about how much he wanted me dead. Just like you said the other day. Snape nodded again and turned to the door. There will be no lessons tomorrow. Take no more than a swallow of each potion tonight and another in the morning if you need. Thank you again, sir. And, Professor, will you be here tomorrow? There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Harry caught Snape's glance at the chair beside the bed. Not tonight, if it's not about anything from this morning, or yesterday, whenever. But I just want some sleep now. Will tomorrow be okay? I will be here all day. Send one of your minions when you are feeling up to it. Minions. I guess they are kind of. They actually kind of act like his minions through all the movies. Why am I tired? Okay. Harry was too tired to tell if that was a joke or not, so he simply fell asleep. Harry was served a feast in bed the following morning. The potion he was for his aching muscles provided much needed relief. He had not understood why he was so drained until his friends described how hard he had been struggling. When they got to Harry breaking his bonds, Harry knew exactly what he'd been going through in his mind. That was when Voldemort branded Malfoy. I didn't want to see any more. I kept thinking that I had to stop looking. You were clawing at your eyes, Ron asked, his face twisted in horror. I thought so, Hermione said. Your face was scratched down the right side. Harry touched the tender flesh, bright red stripes running down his forehead and cheek. Thanks for stopping me, Ron. Bad enough having glasses. I don't want Moody's magical eye. Sure thing, mate. Ron grinned. Just no more of that, right? I'll try. Harry ate, enjoying his friend's company. Okay. The past week had brought very little to cheer him up, and even Hermione seemed to know he needed a bit of light-hearted joking. Eventually, as it always did lately, the conversation turned to Voldemort and his plans for Harry. I have some plans of my own, actually, Harry said. I'm going to ask Snape to teach me to fight. Not Professor Snape, Neville said. You think he will? Ginny asked at the same time. He might, Harry answered. We've sort of come to an understanding. That reminds me, I should go talk to him about that now. He waved away offers of help and stoop up. Harry assumed currently, just give him a cane or a walker. Maybe that will help. Shift again in my bed. Yes, I'm in my bed, and I stay in my bed all day. Okay. Stoop? What? I think I went up a little bit. Yeah. Harry assumed correctly that the potion master would be back in his room. Snape seemed to spend all of his time there when not teaching Harry or out keeping an eye on the Death Eaters. Harry had noticed that none of the adults in the house really cared for the other man and supposed that it was more comfortable for everyone if Snape stayed on the upper floors. Harry approached the topic directly. He knew what he was asking for was unlikely at best, but Snape seemed the most likely ally, which certainly struck Harry as ironic. I'd like to learn how to fight. I mean, really fight. Not that dueling stuff. I'd like you to teach me. Snape raised an eyebrow, but did not laugh Harry out of the room. Harry took that as a good sign. Why do you want to learn combat? You are well guarded. Harry laughed. Everyone's so busy telling me how well protected I am, they don't have time to notice when I'm being held prisoner by Voldemort or chased by Death Eaters. Everyone knows I'm going to have to face off against him. And if I'm going to win, I need to know what I'm doing. Snape did not respond, and Harry pressed his point. I know everyone's trying to protect me, and I guess they want to try to put off whatever's going to happen, but that's just dumb. Voldemort's not going to wait for me to graduate and finish my aura training. People keep telling me not to rush out to fight him, but I'm not. I'd be very happy to meet him in 200 years or something, but he's in a rush, and every day I'm not training is one day less ready. I'll be when it happens. And why learn it from me? Snape asked. Why else? I know Dumbledore would say no, and Remus might. But he's always out doing whatever everyone's doing. Whatever. You know what I need to know? I'm sure you won't be too worried about hurting the boy who lived to teach me. I will speak to the headmaster when he returns, Snape said. He'll just say it's a bad idea, and you know he will. Snape gazed at Harry. I did not say I would ask him. I will talk to him when he returns and tell him I'll be adding magical combat training to your lessons. Harry was shocked that anyone would tell Dumbledore anything like that, but held his tongue. He was about to thank the man when he was interrupted by the voice at the door. Us too! Oh my gosh! Ugh! Good thing they didn't talk about what happened yesterday. Oh my gosh, what? My friends would never. They would never peep. I'm so glad I'm on mute. Oh my. They would hear everything, me complaining and wanting to punch someone. So Hermione said she pushed open the door, and she pushed the door open, and the other three crowded in. We'll all take the lessons with you, Harry. What makes you think I will teach you anything, Miss Granger? Hermione shifted her weight to lean on one leg and put her hand on her hip. Harry knew that pose, saw by Ron's smirk that the other boy did too. Here comes the logic. Oh boy. Should I just skip it? No, I'm kidding. Well, for one, we're going to be joining the order as soon as we're old enough. So we'll have to learn any. Why is he showing this? It's a finger puppet thing. Chipsy chopsy. Fiddle I, fiddle fi. You know what? I don't want to know. Let's click out of this. Okay. Plus, if the Death Eaters find this place, we'll be in as much danger as anyone else. So, we must also be able to help. Third, Ron interrupted. Look, there's no way we're letting Harry go off and fight Voldemort alone. We might as well be useful during the fight. But with or without those lessons, we'll be there. Ginny and Neville added their agreements. I will allow Miss Granger to join us, as she is unlikely to hold you back, Potter. Longbottom may also attend, though he will likely need tutoring outside of what I will provide. Snape stared at Neville, who promptly turned white. If you fall behind, you will not be permitted to continue. Is that clear, Neville? Neville nodded. The Weasleys, however, will need their parents' permission. Ron started to object, and Snape continued. I will not put up with your mother's screeching. Work it out with her on your own. Mrs. Weasley, to no one's surprise, refused to even consider the idea. In fact, Ron and Ginny had endured an hour lecture on behaving responsibly and keeping themselves safe for just suggesting it to her. That led, of course, to the current planning session as the group decided how best to work Ginny and Ron and Ginny's parents against each other. Oh boy. Harry, though, was unwilling to help his friends put themselves in danger. Yep, he got dragged into it. Oh, come off it, Harry, Hermione said. Honestly, are you mad at all of us or something? Of course not. But I'm the only one who should be worrying about this. None of you are being hunted. I don't want you getting hurt. It would be safer. It would be safer if for you to let me handle that on my own. Well, obviously that's not going to happen, mate. Yeah, sorry if you don't like it, but if we have to follow you around spying on you, we will, Neville added. It's your fault anyway, Ginny said, and grinned at him. If you don't want us to protect you, you shouldn't keep acting like someone we want to watch out for. You don't see anyone offering to go to Death Eaters meetings with Snape, do you? The others laugh. Harry frowned. No, I guess not. You might as well help us get into those lessons, Harry. Ron said, there's no way you're fighting Voldemort without me. If you don't help me learn... Sorry, my thing went off. If you don't help me learn how to fight, then you're really putting me in more danger, right? Harry finally gave in. He knew his friend was what? Right. And there was something comforting about knowing he would have his friends next to him, no matter what came. Okay, Harry said. First of all, you can tell her what you just said to me. I know it may be true, but you can't tell her that. We need to convince her it's a good idea, even if you won't be chasing down Voldemort with me. The village, Hermione said. We're already in danger, right? That's why we were attacked at the village. And you need to protect your little sister, Ginny added. The twinkle in her eye reminded Harry of the twins. Yes, she was definitely one of them. Don't forget to tell her that. What about you, though? Neville asked. You don't have a little sister to protect. Ginny shrugged. I have to protect my big brother. Weasleys look out for each other. Besides, like Hermione said, I'm in danger and Ron can't be around me all the time. Cast in that light, Mrs. Weasley's resolve waned, and she finally agreed. Contingent upon both Ginny and Ron promising they would never go looking for trouble. Both had made and broken their promise thousands of times, so one more shouldn't seem insignificant. Hermione looked smug. Harry worried. His friends were in danger because they had helped him in the Department of Mysteries. Department of Mysteries. Why am I saying Ministries? Mysteries. Mrs. Weasley had clearly not liked the idea of her children learning magical combat. But the threat on their lives was now unavoidable. How long until people realized Harry was to blame for that? For that evening, Harry took up Snape's offer to talk. He was not quite sure what he wanted to talk about, though. There were a lot of things going through his head about Snape. Things about himself. How odd, he thought, that Snape, of all people, was the person he felt like he could be most honest with. Harry entered Snape's room and sat down in the chair Snape indicated with a nod. The man was reading the same tome. So it's a book? I never knew that. From the previous night. He looked up, but Harry was not... What the heck is going on?
How hard you're working and how well things are going for you today.
Okay, cool beans. Anyways, the man was, he looked up, but Harry was still not sure what he had come in for. After a moment, his attention returned to his book. Harry sat in silence, gathering his thoughts. This was new territory for him and Snape, and he had no idea how to start saying the things he wanted to say. While he realized the territory was not entirely new, what was it? There had been a few days when he and his teacher had spoken very freely. They had joked and even enjoyed each other's company. Those days seemed long past, but the memory of them made it easier to think of Snape as, well, a human. Finally, Harry forced himself to say anything to break the silence. So, what? Who the fuck would say this? I don't even remember who this character is. So, please, this is awkward for me. I'm cringing. Ow, 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 it's painful. Okay. So, Oliver Wood is pretty cute, isn't he? Oh my fucking word. That came out of my mouth. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. Oh my gosh, I'm ashamed. I'm so ashamed. Okay. He could feel the face turning red and immediately felt like a fool. I'm hot. I'm sweating. Okay. He could feel his face turn. Yeah, I know. What a stupid thing to say to Snape. No doubt. I agreed. Okay, what in the world are you talking about, Potter? Just say you're into him. There you go. That's the thing to do. Fucking creep him out. Harry jumped from his chair. I'm sorry, sir. I'll leave you alone. Sit down, Potter. Snape closed his book and leaned back in his chair. His voice softened. Please have a seat. Harry sat back down and stared at his hands. Snape continued. You have never said it out loud, have you? Said what? There is power in words, Snape said, ignoring the question. There are things that exist in our imagination and our memories. Things we wished were not there. When we speak of them, they become real. When we say them to others, they solidify. We cannot take them back. And there is now one person in the world who will know your fear. One person to whom you cannot deny your fear. That gives the fear power. Harry looked up but said nothing. But there is another way to the power of words. You know that side. You saw his name when no one else does. You say his name when no one else does. That gives you power over your fear. That's a power very few others have. When you say your name, it frees you. When you say his name, it frees you. Snape fell silent. Harry still did not speak. Finally, Snape again spoke. You can say it, Harry. There is freedom in the words. I know. Harry found his voice. He met Snape's eyes. I'm gay. Snape nodded. There. Your secret is no longer secret. You cannot untell it, and you cannot deny it. Not to me, at least. Therein lies the fear. But you now need never pretend to be something you are not to me. And therein lies the freedom. Harry smiled in the candlelight. His heart was pounding out of the truth of Snape's words. Where the fuck was I at? It had felt good to finally say it out loud. Even though Snape already knew, he had heard the words coming from his mouth as if someone else had spoken them. Rude. Mute your ass. I'm almost done, too. It had felt good to say it out loud. Even though Snape already knew, he had heard the words coming from his mouth as if someone else had spoken them. It had felt wonderful to experience. I realize, Harry, that I'm not the person you would have chosen to be the first to hear it. Well, sir, maybe not, but then again, I don't know if I would have told anyone else either. That is unlikely. Eventually you will tell your friends. Harry crossed his arms and tilted his head in his chair. His friends were not a topic he felt like talking about. Bruh. Okay. Go back. I wasn't done. Asshole. Okay. Anyways. Go back. He hated lying to them about this, but the idea of telling them left him cold inside. Snape must have sensed that, though, as he quite effectively took Harry's mind off of it. Oh, yeah. Yes. Mr. Wood was quite a specimen, wasn't he? Snape smirked. Harry fell back off the chair. Oh, I relate to this too much. I'm like, my friend doesn't want to even say it. Wait, I don't even remember who Oliver Wood was. I really need to rewatch the whole series. Is it this? What's so pokey? Oh, it's my pillow. Okay. Who was Oliver Wood? Was that the guy who was the camera guy? Doody. Because, I mean, he was adorable. That guy was adorable. I'm so sorry. I'm just taken aback a little bit. Yikes. I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you really like this. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment down below who do you think was a specimen in Harry Potter? Oh, please kill me. Oh, man. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please put on push notifications if you want to hear me get notified every time I am updated. And comment down below just who's your favorite character from Harry Potter. Mine has to be Snape, and absolutely love the guy. I love you guys so much. Be happy, be healthy, always be loving. Bye bye.